How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, I know many know what's going on in regards of the civil suit that Botham Jean's family was trying to pursue, and it has been dismissed, and many of us is not surprised at all. But I'm going to do it true royal style. I'm going to go in depth. I have some things that I'm going to read to the royal family. So let's go on this journey. So I have an article here that I'm going to read, but I'm going to read from my PC, and I'll put these pictures back here. So let me get here. Okay, get this going right. So, Amber Guyger's former employers get a pass as judge rules Botham Jean's family can't sue Dallas. So let's get into it. A judge ruled earlier this week that Dallas could not be held liable as part of a civil suit filed after a former police officer murdered an innocent, unarmed black man in his own home last year. That means that the Dallas Police Department also can't be held responsible for Amber Guyger shooting Botham Jean to death while he was watching TV and eating ice cream in his apartment. The news was a stunning turn of events for those expecting justice to prevail in a case that did not see Guyger get convicted of Jean's murder before she was given a relatively light prison sentence for the unprovoked shooting death of the 26-year-old St. Lucius native. According to the Dallas Morning News, U.S. District Judge Barbara Lynn on Monday dismissed the city for the lawsuit filed by Jean's family. Guyger, who was convicted of the murder in October and could be out of prison in a few short years, is now the only defendant remaining on the lawsuit, making a high-dollar settlement unlikely, as the Dallas Morning News put it. The lawyer representing Jean's family disagreed with the ruling and argued that if Guyger had been better trained, here we go with this mess, by the Dallas Police Department, then she would have known how to prevent herself from shooting Jean when the court determined they did not pose a threat to the off-duty officer. There are a number of things that Amber Guyger did not do or said she did not recall how to do, Daryl Washington told the Morning News. If this stuff was drilled into police officers, we would not have people saying they weren't familiar with their training practices. In the end, Dallas was removed from the lawsuit over a technicality. Guyger was off duty. Had she been on duty, chances are that the city of Dallas would have been held liable. The circumstances surrounding Guyger killing Jean were just too unique and couldn't be compared to other police shootings. When he recommended Dallas, he removed from the lawsuit. Washington, the lawyer for Jean family, previously argued Guyger was on duty since the police officer took an oath to uphold the law no matter what. As we allege in our pleading, as we have always argued, Amber Geiger was clearly on duty, Washington said in October. The great majority of the evidence in the presentation by Amber Geiger's side was that she was a police officer and that she acted as a police officer would behave. Dismissing Dallas for the lawsuit followed what appeared to be a pattern of preferential treatment extended to the convicted murderer. Following her verdict being read, Geiger was given a hug and a Bible by Judge Mamie Kemp, who presided over the murder case. A bailiff was even seen stroking Amber Geiger's hair in court. Geiger was facing up to 99 years in prison, but managed to walk away with just a 10-year sentence. On September 6, 2018, Geiger said she mistakenly entered Jean's apartment after a long day at work as Dallas police officers. She said she mistook Jean for a crook and ordered him not to move. Then she shot him twice before realizing her catastrophic error. Bullshit. Geiger's murder trial took a full 7 days, ending much faster than expected. Geiger admitted under cross-examination that she intended to kill Jean when she shot him, and the former officer also admitted that she was trained in CPR but refrained from performing the life-saving technique on Jean after she shot him. Instead, the 911 call she made, along with her actions following the incident, suggested that she was more concerned about saving herself rather than Jean. No, she was worried about getting her damn back cracked because she wanted her old lover, and he's a murderer too. She was trying to hook up with him. She didn't give a damn about him. You know, a lot of us watched this case in depth, so we're not surprised by any of these actions. But I have to admit to you, I know that I went real in depth on my channel. I think when I counted, I think I probably did over 20 videos on this. So I really am very well versed in this case. So now we're going to get even deeper. So many of us know the antics that was pulled in court during the sentencing phase. Or no, let's say the was that the sentencing phase? Yeah, I think it was after the sentencing phase, then the families could give an impact statement, and Botham's brother, literally, when that went down, I could feel the energy shift sharply. And for 4 days, all I could feel was the royal family's pain, anger, rage, or just simply feeling some kind of way. It literally sucked the air out of the room. Well, I'm going to show you how Esau continues to get down, and also Esau's supporters. So this month alone, Botham's brother, Brandt Jean, received a Coon Award from the city of Dallas, talking about the things that he did was honorable. He displayed himself as a upstanding citizen. Listen to this crap.
I never intended for the statement I made to the person that murdered my brother to receive such international recognition. To be honest, I struggled with it for a long time. As I struggled with accepting this award from this agency, my brother was well aware of the danger posed to young black men due to the misconceptions about color that seem particularly pronounced among the law enforcement community. I am well aware that this agency is responsible for the training of officers in leadership positions around the country. I have come to believe that it was because of lack of training and poor utilization of proper techniques at the opportune time that caused Amber Geiger to murder my brother. That is the reason that I stand before you today. I am grateful for this award for the same reason I was grateful for the opportunity to embrace her after she was convicted of murder in her trial. After being found guilty by a jury of her peers, sentenced under the law, Ms. Geiger needed to be forgiven, and I needed to be free from the burden of unforgiveness. Similarly, I am grateful to be standing before you today on behalf of my brother, on behalf of my family, and also on my own behalf. I want you all to know that I am not a threat, that young black males are not inherently dangerous or criminal. I implore you to champion the policies and procedures that amplify the value of all lives. I insist you encourage diverse leadership that can model inclusion and restraint. Most importantly, I ask that you remember my brother, my example of ethical leadership, a young black male that was perceived as a threat by one of your own. And when you remember him, I want you to ask yourself, what are you doing to ensure that there will be no other families like mine? No other little brothers that have to model ethical leadership and forgiveness of a cop whose lack of training and discipline caused them to carelessly take a life of another. I'm truly grateful for this award, and I hope others can see the light in what I did. And thank you, everyone.
Well, wasn't that a spectacle? That type of coonery is quite entertaining to the enemy. And the thing that is so disgusting to me, as I continue showing other videos, and you will see as I'm painting this picture for the royal family, is that they done got so, it's like they done got so far removed from what actually happened. Now it's all due to her training. And during the trial, now I'm just speaking personally from myself, based on her actions, when she entered Botham's apartment, she came there in a flying rage. I said it day one. That murder, she intended to murder him. She knew who he was, and she felt like she was Billy Badass, and he was going to bow down to her. And this was not the first time that Amber Killer Geiger used her gun on someone. But it's amazing how something can be told over and over, and you get away from the actual, authentic, core events that happen to Brandt Jean. I mean, it's crazy. And then what is so disappointing to me is that, so December 3rd, let's keep that on your frontal lobe. Botham's family waltzed their ass back to Dallas. So basically what they did is they paid their expenses. They would fork over that type of taxpayer money and take some more enjoyment, while Botham's brother profusely continued to forgive Esau for their violent nature. This family is in over their head, and they are nothing more than a form of entertainment. This shit is disgusting to me. And I'll just save it right there, because I'm about to spit fire and lose sight of where I'm going. So I'm going to reserve thyself and close it out very fiery, my royal family. So let's check out this next video.
As former Dallas police officer Amber Geiger was sentenced to 10 years in prison for murdering her neighbor, Botham Jean, she found compassion from an unlikely source, Jean's brother. Brandt Jean gave Geiger a hug and said he knows Botham would have wanted her to devote her life to Christ. Our guest, Erin Haynes, wrote about that moment for the Associated Press. She says many Black Americans resent the coverage of that moment because it runs the risk of papering over a legacy of racial violence. Erin Haynes joins us now from Philadelphia. She's a national writer on race and ethnicity for the AP. Erin, so great to have you.
Thanks, Vlad. Nice to be with you today.
So explain to our viewers what you mean when you wrote in your piece that this was a, quote, rush to forget racial violence.
Sure. So while Brandt Jean's gesture to forgive Amber Geiger was certainly something that was a personal choice for him, there was a concern among many Black Americans who felt that this was a familiar scene where, a Black family member who has lost a loved one forgives, and that turns into kind of a broader conversation about public forgiveness that is really not so much focused on healing, but really just about moving on and not really acknowledging the larger problem of police violence in communities of color that has been, making our national headlines for the past several years.
Yeah, one of the things that I saw posted on social media, and there are other pieces written about this, is whilst, as you point out, it was a personal decision for him to reach out to Amber Geiger, the question was asked, how often do you see, for example, families of white victims reaching out, embracing the Black perpetrator of a horrific crime, or even someone who's been wrongly accused, as it happens in some cases?
Right, and I think that really was also a large part of the conversation that I was seeing too, and hearing from folks that I spoke with. You just don't really see the same expectation or call for kind of that grace and compassion that you see a lot of times from these Black family members. You don't see that same call to white Americans who have experienced, violence or who have lost a loved one, and really also just the issue that Black anger or rage is not something that is seen as justified or really acknowledged. There are calls for calm from, that are issued to the Black community in these kind of tense times. I know certainly awaiting the Geiger verdict, there was a call in Dallas, for people to remain calm and not be violent, even though, the community was really reacting to what they felt was violence that had been done to them.
Right. And, as we were discussing that, I mean, it's good to point out that we may not have ever seen something like that on camera. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, that somebody has embraced somebody who's African-American who's perpetrated a crime. But I think the notes that I was getting on social media more had to do with the coverage. The coverage has been sort of outsized in this one particular moment. And on the flip side, why do you think there were so many people that were quick to call this, as you put it, an act of amazing grace and redemption?
Well, I think for a lot of people, it was reminiscent of the what happened in the wake of the Charleston 9 shooting, where you had a lot of family members there immediately expressing forgiveness for Dylan Roof, the shooter in that case. And I actually spoke to a woman who was the daughter of one of the victims of the Charleston 9, Reverend Shannon Risher. And what she had to say was that, her sister was I think the first person that forgave Dylan Roof, but she actually took about 2 years to come to that decision on her own, and really just kind of reiterated the notion that forgiveness is a personal choice. For a lot of these folks, it is, as it was in Brandt Jean's case, I believe, a matter of faith that motivated that gesture, but certainly taking that individual choice and broadening it out to make it about more of what the larger Black community should do, or in these situations, is something that people took issue with.
And you also write in your article about how this isn't the first time we've seen this kind of expression of forgiveness. You pointed out Dylan Roof. Tell us a little bit more about that. Explain to the audience what you mean about the idea, the notion behind something perpetrated against one group of people, and generally the victim having to be the one to open up or to find forgiveness in their hearts to the perpetrators.
Yeah, I think especially in the Black Lives Matter era, you have seen, even as you have grieving parents or other family members grieving the loss of their loved one, them having to, be at the press conference, urge calm, even if they're not expressing forgiveness, just trying to tamp down any feelings of Black anger. That's something that has been kind of a recurring theme. But just historically, when white America has done an act of violence against a Black person, you see examples where, the response is, well, are you angry with me? Or are you, what is going to be the reaction from the Black community as a result of this violence that's done to them?
Does it serve as absolvement for in some instances for people to feel as if they've been forgiven for something that they may have perpetrated?
Well, I'm not sure about that, Vlad, but I will say that the conversation around absolution, what a lot of the people that I spoke to for this story were saying was that, what that really does is it takes the focus off of the actual victim. And like I said, the conversation that we're having about the killing of unarmed Black people by police, and really puts it back on the perpetrator. I mean, Amber Geiger was convicted of murder, and, it did not feel necessarily like that when, as this gesture was unfolding, first by the brother, but then also by the judge in the case, who embraced her as well and gave her a Bible.
And you also pointed this out, that in fact, Brandt Jean specifically cited his Christian faith during his statement. How does that play into this, the idea of forgiveness, redemption, absolvement?
Well, certainly, in Christianity, forgiveness is a central tenet of the faith, but especially for the Black church historically, race and faith have a unique relationship, even going back to slavery. And so the notion of forgiveness does play out a little differently in the Black church. Certainly, some of the folks that I interviewed, cited that relationship, that historical relationship, and kind of how we see that playing out in instances like these.
Erin Haynes, really interesting article, and it's a conversation that a lot of people have been having, and I'm glad that you were here to shed some light on it from your perspective. We really appreciate it.
Glad. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, my royal family, let me shut this all down. So I get no pop-ups here, and let me go over here. So the one thing that bugs me is how in the African American community that, and I can't pinpoint when it happened because this is all I know, that when we are victimized, then the enemy is requiring of us to be diplomatic in the situation, knowing that when they are victimized, I personally have not heard them forgive somebody for violating them or their family members. And I often talk about the nature of many things, that what you are naturally supposed to do. So the enemy is requiring something that they don't require of themselves, that they want us, again, to be fair, balanced, and objective, even though they don't give a damn that we are capable of doing that in the most atrocious situation that we could possibly be in. That's the only way I can put it. So they hold us to a higher standard. And I'm just talking about personally, when they doing this forgiveness stuff, our folks, I'm telling you, and this is why I'm pointing out that we are all empaths, but may not know it, that you feel some type of energy that dissipates, because it's like, damn, you killed the moment. And that's how that crap went down in court. It was a dagger to the heart of the royal family. And there's been a lot of people that has fully supported this family. And there were some things that I seen that made me lose, to some extent. I'm not 100% there because I would be lying. Made me lose some respect for them. And what got me was, during the trial, they had different co-workers come up and speak, friends come up and speak. And they had this white girl come and speak. And she spoke of Botham with a lot of passion. Like she had more passion for him than her own husband. And the family, I'm pretty sure, had to A-OK that was okay. Well, some people don't know that Botham he had a girlfriend, and she was a sister. In fact, I seen a picture of her, and I should have pulled it up, but it's too late. I seen a picture of her with Roland Martin. And in fact, she got out there and did a petition drive in honor of Botham. And it's like the child don't even exist. So this family, they color struck. They color struck. And that award that Botham's brother received, first thing I thought of was my dear father, who has passed on. He would always try to challenge us and teach us different things, me and my children. And the word was bric-a-bracket. He said, "Do you know what a bric-a-bracket is?" I said, all of us said, "No, we never heard of it." He said, "A bric-a-bracket is something of little or no value." And he pointed out, like you will see a person in the military and they got all these damn buttons and medals all over them and their chest is sticking out a mile long because they feel honored to have a bric-a-bracket. Again, something with little value. So that award, that a Coon award, absolutely have no value. I mean, what is that symbolizes to Botham's brother and family, that you stood up and you portrayed your family. They was not aware that you was going to get down greasy like that. But there's a reason for everything. I learned that being in the spirit world. And I had to look deep into this. And I told y'all, when all this was going on, my royal family, what I learned from this, because I lost my way too. I got caught up in it too, was that I knew better from my training that, the judge, she gave the appearance that of no nonsense. And that was an act. And I said to y'all that when somebody is in a position like her, they have already been compromised. They have already been tested. And how they test them to see if if they are willing to do whatever it takes to destroy their own, to stay in favor with the enemy. And I challenge y'all on something. and I hope somebody answer back to me. Go check some footage of Judge Mammy Kemp when she was in court, not when she was going on that Mammy tour. You could see the deception, and I couldn't see it at first. I was like, damn, it was there all along. But sometimes we get captivated. But that was a teachable moment for many, definitely me. And I said, I did y'all a disservice. I was trained better than that. I'm trying to stay game tight too. But I can't do it without the royal family. So, I got the last snippet of a video that's going to speak volumes.
Attorney Darrell Washington and others representing Botham Jean's family will continue to push to hold the city of Dallas responsible.
We are accustomed to dealing with this type of process in the legal arena.
On Thursday, a U.S. district judge dismissed the city from a civil lawsuit filed by Jean's family. The civil suit argued that better police training could have prevented his death. The city says the lawsuit failed to provide evidence of that, and the judge agreed. It's a move Washington and his legal team strongly disagree with.
We feel that the city of Dallas should be in this lawsuit. They should be held responsible for the acts of Amber Geiger.
Amber Geiger, the officer who shot and killed Jean in his own apartment last year, is still a defendant in the civil suit. But Washington says news about the city was a blow to Jean's mother and father.
To get this news the day after Christmas was very difficult for the family.
And Bianca, of course, we reached out to the Dallas City Attorney's Office. We did not hear a comment. Actually, they declined to comment on this. But, you know, this is a long ways from being over, obviously.
Yeah, obviously a lot.
So, that is it, my royal family. So, let's go back here. So, on December 3rd, Botham's family are there at Dallas while his brother receives this Coon Award. Where he at? Right here. A Coon Award. That was December 3rd. Then, let me see if I can get a date on this article. It was done, I don't know exactly what day it was done, but it was done this week. We'll just leave it there like that. And I was looking at the timing of how they did that. They held on to that while Botham's brother received a bric-a-brac, something that has little or no value, and they showed their disgust, truly their disgust of this family, because, and that's what you're naturally supposed to do, be disgusted, that you getting fucked dry right in the face, and they keep thinking that they are going to reform or do something in this system. They need to stay their ass back and they go across the pond. Just go take your ass back home, because you don't know nothing about this system, and you think you doing something, and they all work hand in hand, because the enemy is all about timing too, and that's something that we need to learn. They made a point saying, this is your Christmas gift, Jean family. You ain't getting shit. You're nothing more than a laughing stock. You dishonored your son. And then they're going to require from this family, when Amber Killer Geiger go before the board, they're going to appeal to the Jean family to speak in her behalf and beg and plead the board to let her out. But then there's one more component, my royal family. And I want to see if they really about that life. They can sue Amber Geiger. Look at it. Look at it. Yeah, they can sue her for millions, even though her dusty ass don't have nothing. So, me being somewhat of a war strategist, and diabolical the way I think, because I'm affected by the system, I would be that family member begging for her to get out, so she can take her ass to work, and them checks can be gun assured every other week. That's just how True Royal thinks, since we're going to play this motherfucking game. Yeah, I want her out of jail real early so she can start, working. Put that bitch on the track, After hours, she can, freelance. And I want that too. I keep telling y'all I'm a true ass pimp. I got all these different alter egos. Game, recognize, game. But that's just me being me, my royal family. Check the play. Are they going to make that move? Or you feel so compelled and so concerned for this murderer not to be victimized because they cradling her? And it's his old deranged ass brother talking about, I don't want to see her in jail. I love her. I need to hug her. And then his deranged father sits before the church and say, I want to be her friend. I said, damn, they act like they want to go up in her. And then the mother is breaking down because she is the backbone of that family. And the sister follows suit, but they're breaking it down with that forgiveness rhetoric like that is required of you. That ain't required of you. You do what the hell you want to do. That's a requirement because you are a unquote Christian. You got me real fucked up. You done took out one of my family members and you requiring something of me? I want to get my hands around your motherfucking throat. Now, that's how you react to your nature when somebody violate you. The shit pisses me off. Got our folks around here looking like motherfucking buffoons. And we're supposed to be diplomatic in the situation. Our folks are so twisted up in their head, they don't even know they come from royal stock. That's why I'm constantly saying what I'm saying over and over. It's an affirmation. You are kings and queens and royals. And I demand of you to conduct yourself in a royal fashion and be true to your nature when a motherfucker violate you and hurts you to the depths of your core. I know that type of pain. I lost my father in a homicide. Something that I have to stuff. I can't even go there, my royal family. I gotta get off, Lord. I'm okay, my royal family. I'm just passionate. So I'll leave it like there, my royal family, because I'm out there right now. So, my royal family, render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.